Your concept of my why I find child violence funny is just not right.
I missed the mark.
Like, no, the baby getting punted across a football field, that's funny.
Like, this is loss, not funny.
A child just getting wasted by a bus, just amazing. A C-section that kills everyone involved is kind of a bummer.
If they'd cut her open and it had been a real dragon and everyone in the room died and she died holding the dragon.
That's how you start a show.
Now, see, less gets
I'd be
me.
fucking locked in. We're going to talk about Hot D in a minute, but...
Episode 399 of the TV Dudes, recorded August 24th, 2022. Black Sheep Relatives. This week, we're talking about Black Sheep Relatives. There are the usual cast of Bad Family from Westeros and House of the Dragon on HBO Max. There are the sisters involved in a murder conspiracy in Bad Sisters on Apple Plus. And there's Chris Estrada's new show based on his life and his family in This Fool on Hulu. Plus, we've got triple dessert in the form of a bonus episode of Sandman, a new episode of What We Do in the Shadows, and an episode of Harley Quinn we didn't talk about yet. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. And Kyle, we've been missing you.
Oh, it's been a minute.
I hope you've got some F1 information for us.
Oh, if only you'd let me open her up, get my elbows out. No, but yeah, it has been just one thing after another. And last week I was like so ahead on the TV, and then I'm like, all right, guys, and you're like, we're recording on Thursday. It's like, oh, I can do that.
It was very important that I go to Ted Lasso trivia. It was very important.
No, and if it was any other Thursday, it would have been fine. But yeah, it was just like, if it wasn't a kid thing, it was a work thing or a travel thing, which that's usually a kid thing too.
I totally caught up on the entire history of F1 and was prepared to discuss it last Thursday, and now I've pushed it all out of my brain.
Yeah, I just forgot it all.
It's just gone.
Because you had to get that hot D in your brain.
It was one of those severance deals. Yep. You only get it for...
Oh, yeah.
Well, Kyle, all that work, you can put that to work now in your TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Oh, yeah. I do have a little spicy TV diaries, when it builds up for a little bit. Actually, no, I need to not go down that.
I was terrified of where that was going, so thank you for cutting that one short.
Not a limerick I want to finish.
Yeah, cut that one short, like cutting off a dick on House of the Dragon.
Starting strong, Kyle.
So, what did I watch? I watched The Dessert. I watched our Harley Quinn and our What We Do in the Shadows. I got all the homeworks in. I've been keeping up with Only Murderers in the Building. Haven't finished Umbrella Academy yet. I think I got like 2 left in that. But I did finish Never Have I Ever, which started off kind of weak for me this season. I think maybe it wasn't until like the 3rd episode where I actually felt like they were treading new ground. But I do think they wasted a lot of time at the beginning, just kind of telling the same story they've told every other season. Like they almost have to warm up a possible new audience to like what this show is. But I mean, for people who have like seen the Will They Won't They's on that show, like I feel like they just did like a 3-peat. What else? Day Shift was batshit crazy. Gosh, wish I could have chatted about that with you guys. Talking about like zigging when you think they're gonna zag. League of Their Own was cute. I'm not cute enough for me to keep watching, but I was very impressed by like all the super talented actresses in there.
Yeah.
And then She-Hulk, or the Hulk episode, as I think we're going to end up calling it. I watched that, which, gosh, I watched this whole thing about the CG, why the Bruce Banner CG looks better than the CG for Jessica. All right, is the character's name Jessica? Jessica Walters?
Yes.
Because they had the model already prepared for that?
Jennifer Walters.
That's what I would think. But they talked about how the stubble on his face and all the imperfections make it easier to make him look real. But because she has smooth skin, it's hard to make the smooth skin look real when it's green.
I could believe that. That like less pretty might be easier somehow.
Yeah, I have another theory too, which is that there's a bunch of whiny fanboys bitching because there's a woman on TV, and so who gives a fuck?
Yeah, it was almost like we had nothing to worry about, and those rumors of this one being the bad one were fucking wrong again.
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Except for with the Eternals.
When are we going to stop being surprised by this?
I see stuff online of like,
or I should say us,
recently
but
with the new
people.
She-Hulk. I keep seeing stuff from the Ed Norton Hulk and like even worse, the Ang Lee Hulk.
Oh,
of like,
God.
Here you go, here's an angry Hulk, and then they whisked him out on and I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I remember that movie coming out in theaters, and no.
Nope.
So these things keep getting pushed. I get these things pushed me on my Facebook of like ads of like how they've soyified the Hulk or whatever. And without fail, I go in those comment sections. And let me tell you, anyone who's invested in how strong the Hulk or Thor is, they need to shut the fuck up and never read a comic again. That is not what the Hulk and Thor are for. If that is all you care about, fucking leave those characters alone. Also, quit the Punisher too. Those characters are not for you.
Because I know, Randy, you don't really like Dude Bro Thor or Dumb Thor.
Yeah.
But I prefer Dumb Thor to fucking roaring take out these male anger Thor that these guys seem to want. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm like, but even Thor, like Hulk, has plenty of runs in the comic where he's Nerd Hulk or whatever the fuck they name him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
He spends a lot of time as that, and then there's Joe Fixit, and there's like a whole bunch of like alternate bullshit. Like
Professor Hulk's not an MCU thing. Yeah.
No, that's just that happens like that's off and on in the comics. Like, he goes back and forth all the fucking time.
To me, there's little shit in She-Hulk. Like he consistently says stuff about, being trapped as the other guy, meaning the Hulk, but he also says stuff like, I woke up as Banner. He's fully aware that the green, smart, smug, whatever guy that he is now is not either of those people.
Yeah.
And I love that because that's a huge thing in the comics. Like his Hulk is like Smart Hulk is not Banner.
No, he didn't beat the Hulk. He learned how to live with it.
So does the Smart Hulk have the memories of both of them then?
Yeah, I think he
so.
does.
As much as Hulk creates like logical memories.
Yeah, I don't know how Hulk works. He's like a 2-year-old or something. I think he barely has object permanence.
Yeah,
I think.
It may be like the way Kenneth sees shit in 30 Rock. Yeah.
So the best thing on my homework, which I'm kind of hoping we could add to the schedule because I think you guys would really like it. I forgot to write it down, but Chad and JT go deep. Any reference to this outside of me bringing it up on the text thread? Can I give it a quick pitch?
On Netflix, but no, I didn't know anything.
The title is inspiring me with confidence.
So these guys got like social media notoriety. I think it was probably like 5 years ago, 5 or less years, when they showed up to a city council meeting in California, and were just these kind of like out of it surfer bums who were like, "Why are you doing an ordinance to like get rid of partying? We really need partying." And they went into these long diatribes that were like written out to the point where it's like, okay, if you're really this much of an airhead, you wouldn't have gone to all this work to write this like really eloquent airhead speech. And the joke of it is this surfer guy goes up and delivers this thing in city council, and, they have to give him like the 5 minutes or whatever amount of time. And then right after him, another one of these surfer bros comes up and he's like, I also want to talk about the Paul Walker statue. I feel like, and then he'll start. The one guy, anyways, they would do this thing where they would go to all these city council meetings, like all over the country, claiming to be activists and having just these like kind of out there causes. And now Netflix has turned this into a show, because you can use all that footage as public. So you can use all the courtroom footage that they broadcast on like C-SPAN or wherever they do those city council meetings. But the show, which you would think is like kind of one note based off of the premise of, what they've been doing with, I guess you can call this comedy. It's kind of like, Sacha Baron Cohen-ish. The show has like
I'm trying not to interrupt you, Kyle, but like the selling point is, I guess you could call it comedy. Maybe
This new Netflix comedy special, I mean,
it
guess you
might
could
be
call it-
entertaining.
Kyle, I don't want to kill your enthusiasm here, but unless you got $20 for the Patreon, there's no fucking way I'm watching this show.
American Vandal meets like any Sacha Baron Cohen thing. It's like American Vandal if part of it was real. You added like this component. Like these guys are so much that main character off of American Vandal, and everything is like this big issue. Like we have to, what was the Paul Walker statue's one. They do this like Hollywood tour bus, but it only goes to scenes from Fast and the Furious.
The snapshot on Netflix was End Small Dong Shame.
End Small Dong Shame.
Where it looked like they put
one
together like a run with a banner or some kind of parade or something for...
Open up spaces for perennial sunning. The guy's like, I passed out face down on the beach during spring break. I woke up 6 hours later, but I was not hungover because I passed out nude and my perineal had been getting sunned the whole time. It was instantly revitalizing. That's why we need public spaces for perineal sunning. Like they go into these huge things. Guys, I'm not doing it any justice.
Nope, you're definitely not.
You never do.
Chad and JT go deep. You gotta watch it.
This sounds like Knighthood of Ba when I was on campus at University of Texas. There used to be a student group that would do stuff like trade Bibles for porn. So that like if you're a college student, you've probably been handed like 3 New Testaments within your first 2 semesters. And you could swap them for porn. Which in the late 90s was, a pre-internet big deal. And they did all sorts of shit like that and were just torturous. It was kind of like when you see Church of Satan make the news now and are like, oh, you trolling motherfuckers.
Well, the whole point of this show is to just show people like you can engage with like people always think that laws are made, in secret, but no, like you can literally show up and they'll give you 5 minutes and you can say whatever you want to the people that are passing, the laws about your city. And yeah, you should just engage in public process.
Yeah, they did a What We Do in the Shadows about that. I actually explained that episode of What We Do in the Shadows because I want to see what the unfunny version sounds like.
Actually, if I did explain that, it's not a super funny premise. I mean, they just show up to a courtroom. What's his name? Colin Robinson, just going around like sucking everybody's energy.
Kyle, I don't want you to do who's on first. Just explain who's on first to me. Just actually explain to me who's on first.
That's a pretty good description, I'd say.
What else you got, Kyle? That ends
my TV diaries.
All right, okay. I'll go next. I know Les and Nick always have crossover. I did not watch as much TV as I should have this week. I rewatched some Good Place. I snuck in an episode of Parks and Rec because I'm starting my rewatch. I started with season 2 because of course I did. Finished up watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine season 8 with Megan, so she has now seen all of it and seen the finale. The finale was good, although I'll say it was not as phenomenal as I remember it being, and I think part of that was because it was unexpected, and this time I knew it was all coming. So it wasn't like oh wow, what a great emotional finale. I was like, oh no, it was good. It's not the best episode of the series show. It's not even the best episode of season 8, but it was a good closer. And then everything else I think winds up being homework. No, that's not true. I finished up Only Murders in the Building season 2, which I thought was great, and I'm glad they're going to do a final season 3, I think, and it's going to have Paul running it. So,
hey, can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Is Selena Gomez kind of worn off on you? Like, no. She is just one note, like...
No, Selena Gomez is great. She's fantastic. What are you talking about? She's holding her own with Steve Martin and Martin Short. You're crazy.
I'll check back in next season.
No, Selena Gomez is great. I thought she was fantastic this season.
I don't know. I feel like she's always just talking like this. I'm like, guys, come on, really?
But I feel like that's her... I feel
that's
like
the
that's
Audrey Plaza of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Les, Nick, which one of y'all wants to go first?
Nick, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say the one that actually came first was born first, but whatever. Lest we watched They Them. We watched that, right? Together?
Yes, we did watch that. That is a film. Film. Written by John Logan for some fucking reason.
I don't actually know how to describe that one other than the fact that like it's a movie about a gay conversion camp where the twist is that they're doing bad stuff at the gay conversion camp.
And it's a slasher at a gay conversion camp. Yeah, I will say for a horror movie setup, it works pretty well in terms of that like there's always a first and second act problem where you have to make your characters ignore several signs that normally would make people run for the cops.
Right.
And in this movie, for the first couple of acts, they like characters keep looking at each other going, so is this evil or is this normal gay conversion camp evil?
Yeah.
And it's a valid question, but the really lackluster movie in my opinion.
It's like, no, it would be weird. It would be less weird if they were actually Bible thumping at us right now. It is weird that they are not. Like, what is happening here?
No, Carrie Preston and Kevin Bacon give it their all.
And then me and Les realized afterwards we might have seen a sex crime just filmed very like sensually and gloriously between because
yeah,
like there's the two girls hook up at a gay camp because they leave these two obviously gay for each other girls alone.
There's a lot of alone time at this gay conversion camp.
They're dropping the ball on it, really.
Yeah, there's only like 4 counselors.
But the twist is that one of them's not a teenage girl. She's doing her college thesis on this, which means I'm like, wait a minute, how does the age work out on this? Because this is not okay then.
Because like other people are there because like, oh, okay, if I go here for a week, my parents will let me legally emancipate myself. Like, okay, cool. Then most of you are in high school, except the spy who hooks up with one of you. And like the credits are rolling and Nick and I are like, carry the 2. That's a sex crime. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's somebody just did not do the math on this.
You sound like the first person to realize the whole Luke and Leia incest thing.
It is like after Empire. It does have that moment of like, wow, this had to have gone before a lot of eyes to get to me on Peacock without anyone.
Yeah, it's that Wonder Woman 1984 thing of like, whoa, wait a minute, hey.
You could have dropped this one line of dialogue. It would not have mattered to the plot, really.
It'd be easy enough to cut this out. We can't? Okay.
She doesn't call in reinforcements from college or anything. Like, it doesn't matter. It just makes the age bad.
Yeah, we watched a movie called Glorious, which is a movie about a god trapped in a bathroom stall that's only way out is this glory hole. What's his name? Fucking dude from True Blood.
Ryan Quanten, Jason Stackhouse from True Blood. And gets trapped he's drunk as shit, gets trapped in a rest stop bathroom off the side of the highway. And there's this voice from the shadowy back stall that starts talking to him that's J.K. Simmons.
Okay, so this is the same. Thank God. For a second, I thought there was more than one Haunted Glory Hole movie. Because someone else was talking to me about this earlier, and they mentioned J.K. Simmons. And what he said was, he's like, yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I guess he's the same guys that are making the Bring It On...
Oh God! Okay.
The Bring It On horror movie, and he's like, yeah, it's pretty good. Which, when you consider that the premise is a haunted glory hole, means that you have to elevate it to great because it made that premise pretty good.
Which honestly speaks to the sheer power of J.K. Simmons, because really the whole movie rests on how knock it out of the park good his performance, just casually great his performance is.
He kills it, and. The problem is that the what's-his-face from True Blood can't keep up with him.
No.
And it's basically it's basically a two-hander almost. There's like maybe one other character in the actual movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's really just all shot in the bathroom. Like, nobody else is there. Yeah, it is unfortunate. Yeah, J.K. Simmons just walks away with it and carries most of it on him to the end. But yeah, it's not as good a movie or wild as movie as you'd think.
They go for this dumb twist that also doesn't kind of work. We're already the Cthulhu monster in the stall, like we don't have to do the twist here.
I realize I'm going to bitch about the logic in this glory hole god movie.
I watched Dracula because that douchebag really is my favorite douchebag in the Bad Sisters show. Watched some Brooklyn Nine-Nine with Les, I think, to do some writing stuff, and I rewatched that first episode of She-Hulk because I liked to put a finer point on it. I like that the aspect that I never thought of for Jennifer Walters was that she doesn't have an alter ego, and I like the way they take it where that Bruce realizes that the alter ego isn't a Hulk problem, that's a Bruce problem, and that fucks with him through that entire episode.
I like that too.
And I think we'll fuck with him through the entire season.
You don't have another guy?
And I
really?
think that's a great way to that's a great way to go with it. That makes both their characters simultaneously more interesting. So
yeah.
Les, you're up.
Les, what you got?
So this week I watched through most of my sitcoms, 30 Rock, Brooklyn, because I've seen those so many fucking times. I started rewatching Great News, even though I've seen it a bunch. I've not seen it to the sheer repetitive volume of those others. Of course, caught up on the homework and dessert, what we do and all of that. Finished out Deception, my CW Seed show, that you have to go tell the CW app repeatedly. I've watched 10 episodes of it and it still doesn't know to show me the next episode. Just like fucking learn it. Yeah. It kills me. Like, it's just part of why I'm not afraid of Skynet coming to get me. Like, there's a lot of shit they don't know. It didn't know to tell me about this Bring It On Halloween movie. It didn't know to show me Deception. Because I thought we were going to talk about Orphan First Kill, and I was sitting there before, I was like, do I need to watch Orphan before watching the prequel? I mean, in theory, I could watch them chronologically. And then I thought about, Nick and I watching Ghost Shark 2 or whatever, and thinking, fuck, there's no way we could possibly need to watch Ghost Shark 1.
Yeah.
Urban Jaws. Yeah. And,
now that bit us in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely needed to have watched that first movie. Surprising amount of carryover. So I went and watched Orphan, and then watched Orphan First Kill. Really enjoyed them both. We'll talk about them, I'm sure, eventually. Watched Justice League Dark Apocalypse War because I thought I'll watch Warner Brothers animation cartoon and try to remember, some of the things that are good about WB.
You actually finished it this time?
That's
right. You were telling me about it.
It took like 2 fucking weeks to, I watched it in like 3 sittings. That is the darkest snuff film that happens to star, like, if your bully older brother somehow got a hold of your fanfic and rewrote, like, have you ever wanted to see everyone in the Justice League, like, literally torn limb from limb and beaten to death with their own legs and shit? Like, and then it just gets worse and worse. Like, when the whole Justice League shows up enslaved by Apocalypse, like half monsters, and they kill a bunch more Justice Leaguers. And then even when they get saved, like at the end of it in like the We've Won, the whole earth is scorched and they're all still monsters. And like everybody, it is so goddamn dark. And in true DC fashion, they fix it by just rebooting everything.
This sounds like the most DC thing that ever was.
Like when I realized that like they're just going to do a second Flashpoint and the Flash is like, fine. Like,
I love that it's just to a point bad enough where Flash is like, fucking fine, I'll do it.
I mean, seriously, like Billy Batson gets a leg torn off. It's fucked up. It is the darkest. There's a lot of neck snaps. There's a lot of like, oh God, Jon Stewart just nearly gets his ring charged and they blow the battery up and char him to a skeleton. Like, it's just dark. Like, 30 minutes in, it's already gone so far past the pale that there's no victory that can fix it. And the rest of it's just snuff.
This is kind of like, how What Ifs in Marvel, What If, the writer would never really figure out like a couple pages into their script, like, oh, this doesn't matter. This is all, I can kill whoever I want.
Yeah.
And then they would just indulge whatever dark fantasies they've ever wanted to do. It's like that. It's like that. Oh, it doesn't matter. I can kill everybody.
Only instead of a 28-minute episode, it's like fucking near 2 hours. Like, it's like an hour and a half at least. It felt so grudgingly long. Oh my God.
The Justice League movie for people who fucking hate the
Seriously.
Justice League.
Though I get the feeling that it ends that line, like they are definitely in the like we're hiding in dead worlds stage of the DC universe.
For the love of God, don't let Zack Snyder watch this movie.
Right? Well, honestly, like I texted Nick, like this movie negates any argument for any need of a Snyderverse. The fact that this animated movie exists covers all dark bases. Yeah, Yeah, you thought the jail dark meant magic? No, it just means dark. Watched the final episode of Motherland Fort Salem, which was simultaneously fucking awesome and also rushed as hell. Not in a like Heroes season 2 strike season kind of rush, but I definitely feel like one whole thread of scenes was just cut for time or budget. It in like some script surgeon went through this and made sure it still technically logically works and hits the big beats, but they definitely cut 30 minutes or an hour. Like they lost an episode here, it feels like. And it just plows through it, but it really good ending to a really fun show. I quite enjoyed it. Watched some episodes of This Fool, watched 2 episodes of Angel, 1.5 episodes of Angel, which is about all I could do. Every once in a while I get nostalgic for that show, and then I watch it and remember what the 90s sounded like. Early aughts. Jesus.
You gotta go straight to season 2. You cannot watch season 1.
Oh God, no. No, I don't do any of the Doyle bullshit. No. It's Cordy's a goddess and after. Yeah. This is some Fred era. They're looking for Cordy, is the one I watched. I also love me some Lorne. R.I.P. to that actor.
Yeah, after Doyle, but before Connor is your sweet spot.
Yeah, that's when I gave up on it. I think the next episode I picked up started with him broodingly watching Connor, like just bird dogging him, but like not being his dad. I've kicked him out of the house. He's going to live on the street a while and learn a lesson. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're as terrible a father as you are a vampire.
I will say this: I find it deeply amusing that the mopey son from Angel went on to become one of the fulcrums upon which Mad Men turned.
Right.
There's something beautiful about that.
I remember in season 1 of Mad Men realizing that Pete is Connor. And like,
yes,
are you kidding me?
Yeah. It seems unreal.
Like one of the most, Wesley level hated characters.
Wasn't he on Titans?
Was he?
Yes, he's the fucking Riddler. He's the pothead Riddler on Titans. Is he the Riddler or Scarecrow? Pothead Scarecrow. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I sometimes forget Titans is real, and then I see an ad for like season 3 on HBO sizzle reel, and I'm like, oh wait, I didn't hallucinate.
So I've not watched this, but I'm about to put it on my rotation. I have people on my Facebook feed that have been keeping up with Riverdale, and in terms of you cannot believe this show is real. I kept seeing little snippets of descriptions where they were watching episodes and they describe a scene, and it was like, oh, cool, this is some new meme format where you just cold make shit up about a show that we aren't watching, and I can't call you on it, right? And then they started posting like YouTube snippets, and I'm watching a couple of them going, oh my God, that scene's real.
Yeah, it is very clear to me from what I've heard about Riverdale, it has gone full on bonkers.
It is so nuts. Like Just some of the clips I've watched out of context are you can't not watch a show this fucked. I've got to start watching Riverdale again. Holy crap.
Well, they've done a full crossover with Sabrina, haven't they?
Oh yeah, they did all of that. They've got like 2 competing cults, people jumping out of stained glass windows, like the same stained glass window over and over. It's fucking crazy.
I am looking forward to hearing your reports on that show that I'm never going to watch.
Yeah.
The actor who plays Jughead is the kid from Big Daddy. Or what? There was twins, but
no shit.
That Adam Sandler movie. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
The smelly kid, the pee-pee kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Scuba Steve.
And with that, this is a good place to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us $1 an episode. In exchange, we get to keep with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're talking about the latest changes at Discovery Warner Brothers, by which we mean the utter chainsaw they're taking to it. In addition, we also have our $20 show level, so if there are shows you want to throw in rotation, you can buy that level, give us a couple of ideas. I want to be clear that if you are a TV dude, you should not take $20 and make us watch something that we don't want to watch. Kyle.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never done that before in my life.
You talked about it on the text thread this week. It's basically like it would be as if like Trump. No, they actually did that. Never mind. He did that. Okay, let's jump over. Let's talk about our new business for the week, and let's start with House of the Dragon, the return to Game of Thrones. I know Les has been hyped for this. Les loved Game of Thrones
I did
so much.
I did.
You must have loved it so much. You must have seen, what, an episode of that?
3 at least.
Wow, yeah, 3 episodes. So
no, he loved it so much he erased his memory of it after that ending.
Just start over. Just start fresh.
So I was the last one to watch this. I think you all had watched it and talked about it in the text thread. And as a result, I got my expectations, which were already pretty low, lowered further. And so I watched it, and I kind of got a little nostalgic glow of like, oh, right, I used to like Game of Thrones and Westeros and, all the jousting and the court intrigue and the dragons and how pretty and expensive the whole thing looked. And, oh, look, I remember those locations. And I was like, I wouldn't buy HBO for this, but since I have it, I'll probably watch more of this, which is not where I expected to land.
Not remembering any of these locations or caring about any of this shit, the first half of this episode was real difficult to get through. I kept having to pause it and put like electronics and distractions like further and further away, so that I could keep paying attention to this B-roll from a show I didn't watch. And then it got to this joust.
See, for us, it's like, it's nice to actually see a Westeros that isn't on fire for a minute.
Yeah, like, also I kept having little moments of like, wow, I don't know a lot about this show, but I know that all the prophecies you guys are worried about don't come to shit. Bran's the greatest and there's no throne, so fuck all of it.
They did a lot of shocking things, but for me, the most shocking moment that took my breath away was at that joust when they're showing like the shields and you're like, oh, I recognize that house. And then they show the Bolton flayed man and then it's like, ooh.
Didn't notice any of the shields
for a second.
At all.
Okay, I've watched the show and I didn't know any of that shit either.
Oh yeah, one of those is like
grown men were
cut people's dicks off.
These grown men were trying to curry the favor of what I have to believe are junior high girls, high school.
Yeah.
That definitely started a thought about like, I wonder what the age of consent is. I don't want to ask that.
I told you, don't think about it.
There is no age of consent in Westeros.
Robb Stark is supposed to be 13 in like the first book.
Yeah,
don't think about it.
It's not good. And the show actually aged everybody up a little bit so it'd be less creepy.
Wow.
The creepy part was when the girls were getting into it, like leaning over the railing, like all excited and smiling.
The joust was just crazy violent.
Can anyone explain to me, were those two fucking? The princess and her,
that was
friend
sure
or whatever?
Flirty, like, I'm in your lap, I like this position here.
I sure got that vibe too, yeah.
Right? They are definitely a couple, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
So this does bring me to my sort of, not complaint, but the, oh god, come on, of the show. Which is like, the whole orgy thing, I'm like, guys, did you not learn your lesson? Like, this is pointless. I get that you're HBO, I get that you think this makes you edgy, but I can watch porn if I want to watch it.
That's what I don't understand. Are the executives still so old that they don't think porn is like everywhere in the air like a muck right now? Like it's just around us electromagnetically. The internet is just porn. Like I don't need HBO to make prestige porn.
Yeah, it adds nothing.
No, it adds nothing. In fact, Matt Smith's going to turn me off of sex. That sound Foley,
oh god,
was so bad. Great has sexier
honestly, it
sex
retroactively may have ruined Doctor Who for me. I'm like, I can't ever see Matt Smith again.
But Matt Smith's ability to play, same with David Tennant, to play like both a bumbling, aloof, lovable Doctor Who, and then also play complete
psychopath
sons of bitches, is remarkable.
He's
the stuff
good
that worked in this episode are the brothers. I really liked the intrigue of like, you don't know that I'd be a bad king. You're just pretty sure of it. But at the same time, you're not a great king. Like, he is a pushover and the council is taking advantage.
But I love that the king goes to bat for him of like, hey, that is my fucking brother. Like, it's like, yeah, your brother's a fucking psycho. I know that. Everyone knows that. But like, he's still my brother.
I love that he calls the one guy out of
and then the final straw of that later was just that he catches like, that dumbass makes a joke about his wife and kid's death.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's out celebrating his rise. Yeah.
Did you fucking say that shit? You're done. Get the fuck out of my sight.
Yeah, that's what did it. Not cutting off people's dicks in the street.
Yeah. Yeah, not using the City Watch to...
No, that wasn't his dicks. That had nothing to do with him personally.
Yeah, so like the back half of the episode worked better than the first for me.
Yeah, this to me it was felt like everything Game of Thrones was, but good and bad. Like, I'm invested in these characters. I'm curious about this world. And yet the violence and the sex feel so unnecessary and so lurid that it turns me off at this point.
Yeah. I've never felt more prudish than watching this episode of like, I don't want to see this. Like the axe to the face and shit. Like, I'm good. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And also like, if I want to go watch sex, I'll go watch sex, but like, this isn't even sex position. You're not getting anything across in this episode.
Right. All we know is there's a bunch of sex going on around
You just could have come in on that scene a minute and a half later and I'd have got the same impression.
We could have shortened this up a little bit.
We didn't even need to see the scene.
Yeah.
All we needed to see was him being called on the carpet by the king, because we've seen the character. We know that's the kind of shit he would have said.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether we see him.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like they're going to make Matt Smith this evil character that we hate so they can then try to make him redeemable good to where we like him, knowing full well we liked him before they made him?
I mean, that's the Game of Thrones move, and yes, I think that's probably exactly what they're going for.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going back and forth with them already. His relationship with the daughter is actually pretty good. Like they have kind of a fuck you, but fuck you back kind of like, yeah, we kind of know where each other stands, but we kind of like each other. And he's also like, he does see his brother defending him. It's not like he's blind to it, but he can't help himself.
Yeah.
He just can't, like, seriously, after the death, he should be like, oh, whew, that was close. I was going to not be in the next in line, but thank God both those sons of bitches died. And he could have just laid low and everything would have worked out for him. But he can't fucking stop being a dick.
I will say, I am surprised how much I'm interested in watching a second episode and more of this. But I do wonder, HBO definitely positioned this to go up against the new Lord of the Rings. And if Prime doesn't shit the bed with Lord of the Rings, and if it is not so fucking lurid, it's going to get the people who actually just want to watch fantasy. And not because I think the people who wanted edgy fantasy are done with this. I don't know that there are people are out there like, oh wow, I can't wait to watch more blood and fucking.
If HBO's bet was that the Amazon is going to shit the bed on the Silmarillion series, then I would think that's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, that's a fair bet.
I'd make that bet.
Let's be honest. Yeah, I'd make that bet.
One thing I do like about this show that I found interesting, and I'm surprised, and maybe they did it in the old show and I just didn't see it, but the whole thing of when the king sits on the Iron Throne, like if he's not supposed to be there, he'll get cut by the swords.
Yeah. They did mention that, I think. I think that was mentioned in previous Game of Thrones thing, yeah.
But I love seeing like how it works with this guy, because I felt like all of Game of Thrones, the person sitting on the throne was never like who should be the king.
Right.
Or the queen or whatever it was.
Well, also, it's a weird prophecy because that's a pointy fucking chair. Everyone gets stabbed by it.
Yeah, not a real Nostradamus coming up with that one. If you sit on that sword, it will poke you. No, they're doing a big time jump going into episode 2.
What?
So the two young actresses are going to be older women, and then all the other characters are just playing themselves.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, the two that we were just talking about, they're going to age them up. And I think they're going to do it in the next episode.
Why?
We've seen them in the trailer. Probably so they can do weird sex stuff.
Shit. Let's be honest. That's what it's for. Yep.
I hate that it's so transparent, but it's going to be impossible to get out of like not watching this show, but it would be funny if it gets so bad that I just become disinterested.
Yeah.
But I feel like even just the name
Challenge
Hot D, I got to watch that. Hot D every week.
You got to get your Hot D in. Yeah.
I'm shocked I watched the first episode of this.
We're putting in the dessert, right? We're going to watch it every week.
I mean, I made it through Obi-Wan.
Oh man, don't hold me to that. Do not hold me to that.
Hey, I'm a Rastafarian, Targaryen. I got some dragons and they're very scary. And been here and there and then I've been everywhere again. Rastafarian, Targaryen.
All right, let's jump over and talk about Bad Sisters over on Apple, which I was kind of looking forward to this because I like Sharon Horgan. I've liked her shows. I don't know if y'all watched Catastrophe that she did. Kyle, you must have. You haven't? It's so British, Kyle. It's so very British.
It has the people on there that I like, but wait a second. Am I confusing Catastrophe with the other show that guy's on?
I don't know.
No,
Catastrophe's the
Catastrophe
one
must
night
be
stand,
it.
right?
Then
Catastrophe
it's like
is the one. It's Rob
they went
Delaney and
4
Sharon
seasons.
Horgan.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
No, I want to say I saw a bunch of episodes, but it just never caught me.
Interesting. I actually really loved the Catastrophe, and so I like Sharon Horgan, and so this looked like more of her like dark comedy, and I thought I would really like it, and I thought it just kind of it's a little slow.
Yeah, it also has Maeve's mom from Sex Ed.
Oh right, yeah,
Yeah, she's the mourning widow in the first episode.
Yeah.
That sister.
Mm-hmm.
I know. For me, this wasn't bad. It's a fun murder mystery, or it's going to be a fun murder mystery. It's a little slow, but it's very British, so I think those things kind of even out. This just came at the end of a lot of TV homework this week, and I think I spent 2 shows worth of energy watching Hot D. Because by the time I got to this, it was not happening.
Yeah.
But not because it's not. I laughed a couple of times. I just still didn't. I'm just not plugged into it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for me. It's like I didn't find it very funny, and I thought the character stuff was interesting, but like they spent a whole episode getting to this dick is dead, and we're gonna have to worry about it. And I'm like, you should have opened with that. Like I feel like
I know
you
they
guys
opened with his corpse, but they shouldn't have.
Which is what's weird.
Don't toy around with the murder of it. We know goddamn well what the show's going to be, right?
Yeah, and also like these sisters and the dick of an ex-husband.
He is such a dick. Oh my God.
It's established well and so quickly that I'm like, if you're trying, I don't know if you were trying to get me sympathetic to the idea of murdering him, but I was sympathetic to murdering him within 2 minutes of him being on the screen. I'm like, oh, you should totally kill that.
It's 2022. When I sit down to a TV show, if you want to murder a character, I'm here. It's fine.
I think that they think half the fun is the fun and games of, ooh, how did he die? Because we're going to keep saying what a gruesome way to go, but we're going to be real cute about it and not tell you so that we can think, I'm like, okay, well then it's obvious he obviously doesn't die in this second one because this is what you're doing for the whole season.
Yeah, and at the end of the first episode,
doesn't work.
At the end of the first episode, they run through the cute list of like all their suggestions for how to kill the prick.
Mm-hmm.
But, and one of them says at the funeral that a violent death also gives the hard on. But I think they're going to play a game with, I don't know. To me, the after party did a similar setup, but totally different. And
played it off better. Yeah.
Well, they spend so much time in each one, like a disproportionate amount of time in each episode. I've watched both of them. And a lot of the modern time, the present is spent with the insurance adjusters who, I mean, they have the brother tell the other brother what a monster he fucking is.
Mm-hmm.
But yet I think we're supposed to find that cuter than I do, because these are 2 insurance brothers that are looking to, not for any gain or moral thing, is because their business, if they do what their job entails, pay out this insurance claim, their insurance company is going to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not suspicious because it's suspicious. They're suspicious because, just to be
So
cool.
they're looking, I'm like, okay, well then you're just going to find something whether or not there is, because you can't afford to pay this, because you're bad insurance people.
Yeah, they're sent to find something.
This feels malicious and mean, and I'm like, am I supposed to? I want this other insurance adjuster to die.
Yeah,
horribly.
Yeah,
he's straight up. He crashes the funeral. What, straight up evil.
Yeah. I think there's a good cast here. There's an idea here, but it needs I want to say it needs to be funnier. Like it needs to be darkly funny, and instead it's just kind of dark.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go back and watch like Good Girls, where like Christina Hendricks and then we're suddenly criminals, but still housewives. Yeah. Like there've been shows about that fish out of water. Like, wow, y'all did a crime.
Yeah,
this one's just structured slow.
Yeah, I agree.
I think they need to have just a little bit of the present to show that he's dead, and have the funeral go on. Like just have the one night go on like the after party of no, this is just one interview of like, okay, so the funeral, and then the insurance adjusters talk to each person, and then have those people and their parts of the story of why they hate this prick.
Yeah,
like there's a way better way to structure this without it feeling like a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to This Fool over on Hulu. This is a comedian I'd never heard of, Chris Estrada, and I guess he's drawings from his life, and he's the lead character is basically he works at a gang rehabilitation
kind of place.
Rehabilitation.
And
Hugs, not thugs, Randy.
Hugs, not thugs. I didn't see the whole thing. I just really saw the opening half of the pilot, and it didn't grab me. But I guess y'all have watched more of this. So what did you think?
Well, what you said about the creator also being the star, I guess that without knowing that, because I feel like a lot of his humor is just so introspective, like so on the nose with like.
A lot of this feels like his stand-up.
It's very authentic. Like he's peeling, I don't know, some of the things he makes fun of, like his teeth, like I got dental insurance and it's like, your teeth look fucked up. And he's like, I still got some visits.
Fucked up though.
Yeah. They used to be more fucked up. It's like, that's somebody who's really like gone through dental stuff, like making fun of his teeth. And that's a lame example, but there's a few other jokes that just hit so hard. I was like, oh, he's got to be the creator.
Yeah. Yeah. It has that feel of like, this is centered around not just a guy's jokes, but the guy. I like the kind of play on like, who's the fool here? Cause like on the one hand, he's definitely the family member that grew up in this neighborhood where everybody around him were thugs and he's the nerd and like just the soft dude. And of course now his brother's gone to jail and is out, and like, who's the idiot now?
His
cousin. Like, who's the idiot now? Like his cousin keeps wanting to like fuck with him about being soft and stuff, but they keep having to call his cousin. I'm like, dude, it is not 2005, man. What the shit? You can't say that.
You can't just call people gay.
Like, yeah, right? Like you
like that's his big that shit. Like, what he thinks is funny the first episode. Luckily, after the first episode, they drop it, and there's a level of when I like to show the most is when they have a mutual respect for one another. Of like he lies and says that his cousin's cupcake is no good when they make cupcakes. Because like it's almost like a dare for these thugs of like, no, you're gonna make cupcakes. What? That's soft. Yeah, that's exactly why we're doing it, so that you don't you stop thinking about this weird stereotype that you're playing into.
Yeah,
and he makes it about his ego, about the cousin. Like, oh well, if you can't do it, I guess whatever. And so the cousin gets all wrapped up in it, and when he lies to him later, like, no, that's good. Fuck you. Like, they have an argument, and he's like, what, do you want to take a swing at me? Do you want to take a swing at me? Like, do it. And so the guy goes, okay.
All right, fine. When your mom got sick, you weren't there for her because you were in prison for doing dumb shit.
And everyone in the room goes, God damn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like one of the other thugs in the background is like,
this fool's cold-blooded. Hey, don't ever tell this fool nothing about your life.
Oh, shit, that motherfucker's cold. Don't tell him nothing about your personal life. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's such a great response to like, you want to take a swing at me? Okay.
And it's interesting because you realize in that moment, even though this guy and anybody else here is super intimidating, like really this guy holds a lot of power. Just not in a traditional sense.
Yeah, but he's secure and tough in who he is. He just is a nerd.
Yeah.
Well, everyone in this family keeps telling him like, oh, you're the one that should get his life together. I'm like, motherfucker, he has dental insurance. I mean, he mentions at a weird amount, but
right, he's pretty much got his shit together. Yeah. Y'all just can't take him seriously, and he doesn't care.
Also, the chef.
Oh god damn it! The pastry chef is the funniest. Is the outright funniest thing on the show to me.
You're all shit.
He's like the chain smoking manager on Bust Down. Like he is just out of nowhere funny as fuck. When they start to do the cupcake thing, and this dude walks out and starts to lecture them on like, oh, you think you're too good for cupcake, and it is this brutal speech. It's great. Yeah, he's just tougher than all of them, and in a pink apron.
He also kind of comes down on the other side of stuff too, because they go to try and get a scrap going. Like, hey, we're gonna go fight this motherfucker in the parking lot. It's like, hey, that goes against everything of my current values and everything I stand for. Come on, man. Okay, you've convinced me.
Yeah, all right, you've convinced me. Yeah, it's not knockdown, laugh out loud funny, but it is a really cute show that you can see the weird world kind of building. Like, I think it's got a good style to it. I'd give it a couple more episodes. If you thought the first one was funny at all, I'd give it at least the cupcake episode, a couple more episodes.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's jump over. Let's start having dessert here, guys. We got a lot of dessert to dig into, including there was surprise dessert. Netflix dropped an 11th episode of Sandman.
They turned Sandman up to 11.
And then, as repayment for that kindness, Neil Gaiman got online and fucking kneecapped him. He's like, "Yeah, we're the most popular show on in the world for 2 weeks, but that may not be enough. Tell Netflix you want a second season." And I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, they're apparently a pretty expensive show.
That's rough.
But the way he did it, I here's the thing. Everybody panicked. There's a whole bunch of how are we going to save Sandman? I saw some bullshit piece about Sandman might go somewhere else besides Netflix. No, it's not.
No, it won't.
Netflix is going to make a second season, but Neil Gaiman probably
they're going to make 3 seasons and then cancel it
Right.
the Netflix way.
He was probably engaged in some kind of budget stuff with them and decided to do what he does best, which is go on the internet and get it, and was like, well, it's very expensive. And basically now Netflix has all these fans saying, "Don't you dare cut the budget!
Brilliant.
Don't you dare not cancel it!" And
it's
Netflix
a whole
is like,
brown coat petition drive, but before they near needed, before everybody's out of contract.
And Netflix is like,
preemptive.
We were going to resign. What are you talking about? We were already going to do this.
Now you got to performatively announce the season 2.
Yes, because now they look at the bad guys. If all they do is say we're going forward with a season 2, like they've got to say it's going to have the same budget. We've committed to a season 3, and we love Neil Gaiman. Like it's fucking genius, and I love
Netflix,
it.
what kind of HBO Max bullshit is this?
Yeah.
Now, Neil Gaiman is just going to be like, and guess what? The next season's going to be gayer.
So one of the questions I had in watching Sandman season 1, and I love season 1, is how are they going to handle the later stories where Dream is really kind of tangential to the narrative, and they dropped an episode that shows us 2 stories where that happens.
Yes,
and it worked great.
Yeah,
like this is a fantastic story.
And these are great choices to put these out after. Like, Calliope, you need to have seen him be imprisoned all of season 1, basically, to understand why he is now the Morpheus who would do this.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's not a big enough, it doesn't tell that story heavy enough to have made it the episode where we started to discover that he had changed. Like, we saw that in season 1. So I felt like this worked great. Also, the Cats episode looked gorgeous, and that is one of my favorite stories.
Oh man,
it was just brutal here.
To do that animated was really
had
smart.
That undone animation,
and that animation they used was fantastic. Yeah. And yeah, they really did justice to that episode. Also, fantastic voice cast.
Yes,
Sandra Oh as the prophet.
Yeah,
and then Calliope was fucking amazing too. That's the best that Rory's been in a long time.
I thought Calliope is one of those stories that I really liked, but I thought an adaptation could have gone wrong because there's some '90s early stuff in there. This is Gaiman before he realized, I don't need to show or talk about rape in my comics, because that was a very British comics writer thing.
Yeah,
they all did it.
Yeah,
and so I was kind of dreading the scene in Calliope where the first thing he does is rapes her.
Well, and
I was and I like that basically they cut that out.
The maturity and the understanding that you don't have to have him do that for me to understand that this is fucking wrong. Like, the enslavement's wrong without. I think there was like the 90s there where if you wanted someone to be evil, you just suddenly made them a rapist. And I'm not saying that that's definitely not evil, but like, too much club in this show, please. Like, you don't have to show me that again and again.
Exactly. And all it does is re-traumatize people. It was useless. And so, they did a great job of, like, I fucking hate Richard Maddock. I saw exactly what a craven scumbag he was. You didn't even need to show me that.
It's somehow worse that he starts out all like flirting with it, and you watch him turn away from being any kind of good person.
Yeah. He had the choice in front of him, the right thing to do. He was like, either I can give her up and hope that maybe I get to be a good writer, but at least I'll know I'm a good person, or I can keep her and be a good writer and know for sure that I'm not a good person. And he made the wrong choice. Like, it's that simple. It's I get it. You may be losing. Yeah. You may lose out on a thing you have a dream of, but are you willing to keep a person prisoner for this? And the answer for him was yes. And by the way,
accept the consequences.
Yeah.
They're casting for this. He was fantastic. I loved him as the role.
It breaks my heart that you can tell, like, I mean, neither of them, but she straight up tells him with a look on her face that makes me think that she'd go through with it. She says, "Ask me again after you set me free."
Yeah.
Like, when at the point where he really hasn't done anything yet except delay just a hair, like he didn't immediately, but she looks at him and, he's like, "Please help me." And she goes, "Ask me again after you set me free." And
she might have done it.
And she might have. At her at that moment, I believed her of like, I don't think she's going to suddenly turn into a demon or anything. Like, I think she would give you one really fucking great novel, which would at least get you out of this.
She might at least as a thinking like, hey, thanks for freeing me. Here's a novel for you. There you go, and fuck off.
But also the way they paid off the Sandman giving him ideas, flood of ideas. They played that beautifully. That's such a great moment in the comics, and I thought they nailed it.
No, they did. They nailed it. They nailed it.
The ending line is perfect of, I have no idea. Oh, good Lord. Yeah. That's Sandman's version of forgiving him.
Yeah. I love it. Like, fine, I'll make the ideas stop.
Yep.
He turns the spigot all the way off.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, Sandman being like, thinking like, oh, okay, this is I guess I'll stop torturing him or whatever. And it's like, dude, that might be worse what you left him as. Like, I'm not sure because this is all sorts of meta level fucked up. But I love that the muse too is like,
she forgave you, but she asked me to handle it.
Yeah, and when he asked like, who did you talk to? And when he's like, are you giving me dreams? And she heard the smile on her face when she knows, like, you poor motherfucker.
Yeah,
it's like, and she says to him like, it's too late now.
Yeah,
it's out of my hands now.
Yeah, you had your chance. Yeah. Anyway, phenomenal translation of two phenomenal stories, and I cannot wait for more of this.
Yeah,
which I'm fairly certain we're going to get.
I feel quite certain. I'm loving it.
Honestly, I never do this, but this is one of those things where, like, if Netflix doesn't pick up Sandman, I'd be inclined to say fuck you, Netflix, and not watch their shows anymore. Like, I would be willing to give them to burn them all from watching.
We'll discuss in the
who do they look like? HBO Max?
Yeah, it seems like an absolutely insane. No corporation could possibly make that dumb a judgment call. Except that
the bar has been lowered.
Right now.
Well, also first season promised a bunch of actors like with Desire and Delirium and all that other shit of like they were straight up promising multiple seasons in that first one. Like, don't worry about it.
Well, and I got to see who they cast for Delirium because they picked him just to piss that dude off. I don't know if y'all seen. I don't know if y'all seen Neil Gaiman's responses to trolls online that are mad about
Neil Gaiman is counter trolling all the racists, and it's delightful.
Yes, I love the guy that got mad, and they haven't shown Delirium yet. There's a dude that's mad about like, why did you do woke casting on Delirium? And like, oh brother, you have not even watched the fucking show.
Yeah,
eat it.
And Neil,
eat a bag.
And that's what Neil says back to him is, well, we cast Delirium specifically to anger you. The rest were just the right actors. Like, fucking,
you caught us. Neil, we did some research. We found out who you hated.
Sandman's a white guy. How much? But obviously he's also bi. I mean, come on, he gives off that vibe.
Neil Gaiman has just like he's trolling these people in the way you should, which is basically he's already said he's like, they're not our audience. Like, if you look at the number of people complaining and the number of people who watch our show, they're not actually, who gives a shit what they say?
No, and dunking on them just makes your actual audience happier. Like, we're all just clapping and laughing back.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It's a bonus. All right. Let's talk. Are you guys ready to flip this? You guys ready to go flip yourselves?
Oh yeah.
Flip ourselves, baby.
Wait, is this going to be a flip yourself?
Or a flub?
So this is a perfect combination because actually I wish we had original TV dude Greg in here because he loved these house flipping shows. But Kyle, you got some funness for the HGTV, I think.
Oh yeah, we flirted with getting the subscription once Chip and Joanne went over to on demand only, but no, we didn't pull the pin out of that grenade.
This the gimmick episode is one of those things that either is going to work really well or work really badly. And fuck, did they nail this?
They nailed the look of those shows to me.
Yes,
I love
the ambush, all of it.
Yep.
How they teased it earlier in the season.
It somehow looks like What We Do in the Shadows, but looks exactly like one of those shows at the same fucking time.
It's perfect. And the Sklar brothers, I love the two of them back and forth because I have not seen a lot of house flipper shows, but I did when my kids were younger watch the Kratt brothers, which is the guys the brothers who like mess with it, and it's the same forced banter of we hate each other but we love each other. Yeah, those guys. Their whole banter, and I know that's their thing.
I used to listen to Car Talk on NPR, and it's the same click. And clap.
Man,
yeah,
and it's
Desert Flippers,
and it's great, and it's a ton of fun to watch. And I love that they immediately subvert it by having Nadja kill one of the brothers.
I was like, she just took his fucking neck out, right?
They pan back over and she's thumbs up in the camera while she drinks him dry. Like,
woman's got to eat.
I was waiting for her to turn him to cover their ass and then Guillermo lose his shit.
Yes.
And you will put this in later as a flashback while other things are going on.
I love that too. The hypnosis cut in. As I watched it, I was like, oh, that's pretty funny, but this doesn't make any sense because people are going to watch the show. And then they do another one where it's like, oh, no, the hypnosis is now part of the show. That's fucking great.
And you will air this bit as a flashback later in the episode. Yes.
That all killed me. I was already in love with it. The whole thing is like, we're going to really get some natural light in here. And Guillermo's like, no,
can't do that.
We can't do that. We can't do that. Like all of that.
Andor grabbing the bar in the man cave and being like, this is great. I could be bent over this and another guy behind me just pounding.
Matt Berry being his character loving this show. Like all of this was beautiful. I loved every moment of it. And then we get the kicker that there's another level to it with the fucking hat.
Yes.
And Nick Kroll's character.
The hat comes back. We should have seen it coming because they mentioned the hat rack a couple times.
I should have seen it. They showed us, and then they used the other hand to distract with the Sklar brothers.
I just thought it was like a callback of like, oh, that's funny. Right. They're just remembering the hat. But no, the whole episode's about the hat. It's just about the hat, really.
And then, I mean, that whole thing. And then Nick Kroll's introducing his crew, which they could have introduced 30 more characters that way, and I would have laughed every time.
So the brother that got killed, like Nick Kroll was impersonating a guy's twin brother.
Yes.
The guy was in on it, is apparently what he said.
Actually, I want to say he had 3, maybe 4 children.
The introduction of all of the gang, of his whole entourage, the film crew.
I could have watched the full episode of just that.
And of course, on sound design, Count Rapula.
Yeah, this is. I mean, the thing about this episode was already like going to be classic material. And then all of that introduction, that was just like adding 100 cherries on top of your sundae. It was beautiful.
I love the little details, like the holes in the floor where they fell into like the basement once it filled with water are now got big patches on them. And then the whole time Guillermo's going around like, no, we can't do this, we can't do that. And at the very end, you find out he's been like orchestrating getting a new bedroom. Like, we're gonna blow out this wall and we're gonna bring it up to code.
I also I love the montage of them working on it, like not just smashing the table open.
Yes,
there was so much fun stuff.
And somehow the house is still destroyed.
Oh yeah, it's a mess.
Big shit.
It's even worse.
Yeah, there's like a shiplap patch in one hole, and that's it. And like the couple of craft store signs hung up.
But I don't think home is where the wine is made the cut.
I love that the structural change they have to make to save Guillermo's bedroom takes out a hanging picture that you could put on another wall.
We can't afford it now.
It's going to be gone.
We take that out of the budget.
Like, yeah. Also, hiring the Sklar brothers I just love hiring some, like, there are not a lot of twins in comedy.
No.
You hired 2 of them, killed one, and stopped using him in the first 5 minutes.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
They could have done it with one of them, technically.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yes, they absolutely could have. Yep.
They could have saved money.
Here's what I think. I think that one of the Sklar brothers worked. I think they worked every other day. I think that it's just.
I honestly wanted to know if the mustache was fake and they were just swapping.
Yeah, they were just swapping. Yeah. Just I mean, a plus episode of an A plus show.
Yep.
Just fantastic. Finally the payoff for that Flip Yourself show that's been building this entire season.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that it hits something that was back in season 1 that it's been building since this.
When Nick Kroll reveals that it's all been shot as trolling, and then Nick Kroll realizing that Laszlo really watched it all.
Yes.
Like, you're quoting it
that
back
means
to
the
me.
world to me.
You know who
you truly are the most fiendiest fiend in New York City.
There was 10 seconds of gaping asshole. Oh yes, episode 75 it was.
You really watched the show.
No one said shit.
All right, let's jump back in time a little bit. Last week we talked about Harley Quinn's Joker episode, but Nick pointed out to me that we did not talk about the episode prior that took place in New Orleans with Swamp Thing.
So,
Swampy.
Randy, has this team up ever occurred before, Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It seems like a perfect symmetry.
Yeah, they've definitely hung out. They've definitely done that.
I love the way they handle their dynamic in this show of just like Swamp Thing doesn't have any respect for her because like she doesn't fully commit to being part of the Green. And she treats him like this fucking
they show Swamp Thing have a man bun, and it's like, oh, this is where we're going with this?
Yep. Oh, God, and Nora Freeze.
I got major, like, ex-boyfriend vibes from how they portrayed Swamp Thing.
Or of, like, that guy that I keep, like, we run into each other at parties and we're supposed to date, but I hate him.
God, Nora Freeze.
Yeah, her going bug shit nuts and finding her, like, just sowing her wild oats is hilarious.
Did you guys set this all up so to give me a lesson about moderation? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, Harley Quinn remains just shocking to me that, like, for as glad I am that the Orville doesn't do Seth MacFarlane's normal brand of humor, and for as little as I like Family Guy and even Rick and Morty sometimes, I would think that this show, I don't know, when I was watching the commercials for it before season 1, I thought, no, I'm not going to like the take on these characters. I don't want to see the piss taken out of DC like this, especially not with the track record that current DC has. And here, like, they've taken
and look, now Batman eats
fantastic. Pussy. Yeah. Oh my God, this is the fucking season that finally does the Batman pussy joke. I'm sorry, foot massage.
I think that what people really don't understand is that, like, no, when comedians bitch about, like, hey, it's just a joke, you can joke about anything. I'm like, no. You can joke about anything as long as it's funny. If it's not funny, now you're not joking anymore and you fucked up and you're bad at your job. Like, so this would be interminable to watch, because if this wasn't funny, this would be the Snyder universe all over again, shitting on all our favorite characters. Just not intentionally. Like, so the specific way they do it shows a certain amount of, oh my God, how much Batman comics did you read to get this in-depth with a joke? That was a codpiece joke, sir. No one knows who Codpiece is. You are an insane person.
You think they just have one of those Batman trivia books and they just flip to a random page and they're like, man, Swamp Thing would be cool with a man bun, right?
I was surprised if they just go to a Screen Rant article. Dumbest superheroes. Wait, Clock King doesn't have a giant clock for a head? Well, we're fixing that.
Also, like, how do they... Well, never mind. I know exactly how they do it. The way they get their voice casting, especially like these guest characters, it's just like Rick and Morty, where it almost seems like every episode you have like another, kind of star voice to come in and just give like new life to the show.
But all they have to do is go in a closet and record themselves for 20 minutes, and that's their episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like this has got to be the show with the catch, with the rep where people are like, oh yeah, can I throw in on the Harley Quinn voice? Oh no, I want to do a DC character, but only on that show. I don't want to be involved in any of your other bullshit.
I do love Alan Tudyk's take on the Joker is so much more engaging and interesting than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah. I love that his crimes are pretty recent. Like his new leaf is a year, because that always bothered me in the comic. Like whenever you try to do an arc of Joker, like that's like less than 5 years ago. Do people not remember the fucking Joker?
Oh, God, we can't not mention the drinking contest with Constantine.
Right.
Because they actually got Matt Ryan back to voice the fucking character.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, Matt Ryan will voice that. Matt Ryan is going to be at conventions when he's 70 playing old Constantine. Like that is
absolutely,
that's a role that he was born for.
He's in love with it, and I love him for it.
Dude, I think he lives on the couch of the recording studio or something.
I think he's still sleeping on set at Legends, just hoping.
Dude, we fired him. Like, Constantine's no longer on Legends. Well, he won't leave. Like,
I don't know. Matt grew a beard.
Make up an entirely new character, I guess.
You think maybe he just didn't tell anybody? He just grew a beard and snuck around to auditions again.
Hi, my name's Ryan Matt.
Ryan Matthew. Huh. That's a coincidence. You know, we had a guy. Huh, that's weird.
Oh, really? Didn't know that. Yeah.
You know who you look like?
Not Constantine.
All right. That will wrap it up for us this week. And thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Randy.
And
thanks, dudes.
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder, you can go to patreon.com/TVDudes. Throw us that $1 an episode. Listen to us talk about what an incredible shit show Discovery Warner Brothers has been so far. And also other things we talked about. We talked about a bunch of movies. I think we ran through the Fast and Furious franchise once. There's all kinds of bonus content on there for you if you've never been a patron. And until next time.
TV Dudes out! The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.